All right, so this is actually my second attempt at recording this. I initially tried to record the video and audio at the same time, but QuickTime Player apparently doesn't pick up audio anymore. I know it used to because that's how I made some of my older videos that didn't really take off. But yeah, hi, welcome to my library book rankings from the year 2025. Obviously, this is not super up to date. This exact list was uploaded to Tumblr back in January. Not a whole lot of people read it because Tumblr is not really where you go to look for library book rankings. So here's how books are on this ranking. If I checked them out from the library using the Libby app during the year 2025, they're on this list. Even if I didn't finish them, and regardless of whether or not I'd read them before. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, one other thing. At the bottom of my list is the incomplete books. Even if I thought a book was really good, I'm not going to rank it above a book I actually finished. Even if I think it's actually higher quality, probably. I am not updating this list for other books I've read since then. This is a backlog video. When I'm done with it, I will be re-recording video, which is just going to be some background images of me playing The Sims 4, because I do not want to try and make my backgrounds interesting and also relevant. Like, what am I going to put here? A blank screen? That's not very interesting. I'm sure you would rather see Sims. So yeah, there's going to be Sims in the background. Hope that's good. So yeah, that's really all I've got to say here. You know, I'm going to talk about books I read. I will mention some of the incomplete books I have since finished, since I made this list, because it's been several months. Not all of them. Some of them I got sidetracked, and I got them all from the library, so some of them, my loan expired before I managed to finish them. It happens. So, let's get this show on the road. All right. Bottom book on my list, Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It's at the bottom of my list because at the time of making the list, I had not actually started it. Since then, I did start it. I didn't finish it. My opinion on it is honestly still pretty low. I kind of thought it felt like every gay fan fiction I've ever read. I mean, if you like gay fan fiction, go for it. But it's not particularly standout, aside from the fact that it's published gay fan fiction. That's nice. Next up, we have The Hound of Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This one is also really low down because I didn't manage to start it before I made the list. I still didn't manage to start it because the loan expired before I got around to it. As one does. It's still on the list anyway because I still checked it out. Moving on, we have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. I actually started looking for excuses to read any of the other books I checked out instead of this one. It's boring. The female lead has way too much of a moral compass given she's supposed to be an assassin. Like, come on, try actually killing people? Like, come on, kill somebody. Come on. Worse, I heard that the character she ends up with, endgame, isn't either of the male leads that we've been introduced to yet, which makes their kind of nothing characterization actually worse. Neither one has any personality, they're totally interchangeable, and what information we are given about them is not actually represented in the actual text itself. One of them is supposed to be a womanizer, and then he womanizes exactly nobody. Like, What's up with that? Don't do that. So I sort of felt obligated to continue reading it because I started it and because I'd just been like getting a bunch of books based off of what was popular on Libby. So, just what everybody across however large of an area the Libby covers was checking out, And it's not good. The execution is pretty bad. It's like, I'm not sure I'm ever going to come back and finish this one because I just really kind of dread reading it. So that's really exciting. Next up, we have Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. I have read this one before. I read it in high school. I don't really know why I tried to read it again because it's not exactly my favorite Shakespeare play, but I'm also not entirely sure why I ranked it so low because there are things higher on this list that I feel are lower in quality. So, yeah. Next up, we have the Bible, because I checked it out of the library because I was reading How to Read Literature Like a Professor, which I own, so it will not feature here. And it talked about how many things reference the Bible. So I checked it out. I was like, I should read the Bible so that I know what people are talking about when I read literature. I didn't really get very far because the Bible is very, very long. So, yeah. Next up, we have House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, which I was too nice to. I should have put it lower. Like, this is the one I should have put below Romeo and Juliet. It's not good. Like, it starts off pretty strong, like right up until the first murder, where I ended up plateauing for a little while. I read to the first murder, and then I got sidetracked because I had other books that, more people had on hold, or were shorter, or were due sooner. So I put this one on hold. Like, I paused reading it for a little bit at that first murder, and up until that point it really is a pretty good book. And then we're introduced to the male lead, and then it becomes not very good. Like, Bryce is not a fun protagonist when we're not in our head, and then, like, oh my god, the head hopping is so bad. Like, once we have multiple POV characters, the perspective hops between them, like, without scene breaks at all. Like, you have to telegraph that sort of thing to your reader, otherwise it's incredibly confusing. And there's just no effort made to do that at all. It's not good, to be perfectly honest with you. It's pretty bad. And the world building's also a little funky, and I don't mean the fantasy elements. I mean the, like, mundane elements. They don't really integrate well with the fantasy elements, because it's like, why do we still have cell phones if magic exists and is open and has been the entire time? I know urban fantasy is, like, a whole genre, but, like, how did we develop cell phones if we have magic? Just make it make sense. You know what I mean? Make it make sense. Okay? Next up, we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which really reminds me of, like, somebody took a look at, like, the first Harry Potter book and said, you know what this needs? It needs smut. That's kind of my only opinion on it. Like, it reads like a children's fantasy novel that has sex in it. I haven't finished the first book yet. I read, I think, a little under half of it at this point, because my loan expired and then I had to put it on hold. I got it back recently, but I'm still not sure I'm going to be able to finish it before my loan expires again, which is very irritating, but I have made more progress. And, like, the fantasy elements are really fun. I'm not really sure I like the romance part, but the fantasy elements are really well done, and I do think it's a lot of fun. I do wish that it wasn't a romance fantasy novel, because I feel like I would be looking forward to reading it a lot more if I knew that the fantasy elements that I really enjoy were going to be carried through. As it stands right now, I'm a little bit like, I'm interested, but I'm worried that my wants are not going to be carried through with the rest of the story, which is too bad. All right, next up we have Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I struggled placing this one, and I also struggled reading it. It's really well done, but it's also very vernacular, so it's a little bit like grittier and harder for me to really get my head around. I haven't finished it. My loan timed out again. I gotta get it back. I do know that my parent really liked this one. I gave them a copy for Christmas a couple years ago, and they said it was good. So I have hopes that, like, once I actually manage to get through it, it's gonna be really good, because I trust my parent. They have pretty good taste in books. I trust that. Next up, we have How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents by Julia Alvarez. So the idea behind why I checked this one out is I wanted to check out and read every book mentioned by Thomas Foster in How to Read Literature Like a Professor. I have read through, like, the letter B. I think I started on, like, the letter C in terms of... Yeah, because I was in the middle of Dickens, and then I got sidetracked because I did not really enjoy The Old Curiosity Shop. But that is neither here nor there. How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents is pretty good. I don't think it's particularly satisfying. I wouldn't recommend it, like, if you're looking for something really light. It's a very much sort of like an experience sort of novel. It's very much an art piece kind of novel. It's good, but I'm not sure that it's like everyone's cup of tea, if that makes any sense at all. So, yeah. And then for a very different sort of vibe, next we have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. It's cute. It's got cats. This is a romance comedy. It's by Abby Jimenez, who is very, very good at romance comedies. Like, it's very, very good. However, I kind of struggled with this one later on. I have finished this one now. On this particular list, it is ranked among the incomplete books because in January I hadn't finished it yet. But I have finished it since, and I struggled finishing it because the female lead, part of her plot is that her mother has dementia. And for me, I really struggled with that because my granddad had dementia and he has since passed away. So that was really difficult for me to read. So just like letting you know, it's really cute, but the dementia is like a thing and it's really present and it can make it difficult to read. So just so you're aware. The only nonfiction book on my 2025 list is Misquoting Jesus by Bart D. Ehrman, which I do recommend. It's about how the Bible was translated over the years in service of politics, and things were added into it to show political positions and all of these other things. It's very, very interesting. I think it's very fascinating. But it is nonfiction. So all of the other books on here are fiction books. And then there's like this one book about the history of the Bible. I'm very normal. I swear, I promise, I swear. No, I'm not. Anyway, next we have Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. My understanding is that Brandon Sanderson is a very well-known author, but this is actually his only book that I've read because my bio dad didn't like him. So we didn't have any of his books in the house growing up. But I think this is really good. When I made the list, I had only checked it out a couple of days before I made the list, like very early in January. Since then, I have finished it. It's very charming. It's very witty. I love the world building. I highly recommend it. Oh, excuse me. All right, and then our final book in the incomplete section, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. Book's really good. I still haven't finished it yet because my loan expired and then I checked it out again and then it expired again. It's all very, very dramatic. But I have made progress since I made this list. It's a historical fantasy novel about colonialism and England and higher education and linguistics, and it's super fun. And I really have enjoyed what of it I have been able to read, and I do recommend it. Absolutely. So here we're going to move on to books that I finished in 2025. So these are like a separate list. Everything from this point on, I have read the whole book. All right. Bottom of the list, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Oh my God, I've read better fanfiction. Which, to be fair, fanfiction as an art form has very good writing because it's an art form that people care about and hone their skills in. And I myself am a fanfiction author. But there is a lower barrier of entry than with traditionally published works because all you need to do to write fanfiction is have a word processor and an account, which means that pretty much all you have to do is have an email address and a word processor. And then you can make an account and you can post fan fiction. It's very, very low barrier to entry, which means that you get writing from 12-year-olds next to what is quality-wise like the next great American novel, which, you know, a little bit. Some people see the 12-year-olds work there and they assume that all fan fiction is of that quality. They're wrong, but Throne of Glass was published when Sarah J. Maas was 16 years old, and it shows. Like, this should not have been published. This should not have gotten through a publisher. Are you serious? Like, what the heck? It's terrible. Like, yeah, I mean, it's fine for a 16-year-old, but you published it. What the fuck? No, this should not have been allowed to go through a publishing house. It's good for a 16-year-old. It's not good for being published fiction. Are you serious? Like, oh my God. Ugh. Like, it's... Ugh. I'm pretty sure the only reason I managed to even, like, get through this one is because, like, I was super stressed when I was reading it because this was, like, the end of the year and I had this massive project for my final semester at grad school. And, like, I was reading this when I was in the bathroom, which meant that it was, like, one of the only, like, vents for, like, the high levels of stress I was under. So, like, yeah, it's good for, like, stress relief, but it's, like, not good if you're actually trying to engage your brain, like, at all. The world building is flimsy. The main character has 3 names, and I remember none of them. There is exactly 1 decent character, but don't get too attached for her because I did read far enough in Throne of Midnight to know that she fucking dies in the second book. Are you serious? You had 1 good character and you fucking killed her. What the fuck? Oh my God. Anyway. Also, The lead has a pool table for some reason in her room. It feels very anachronistic. I know it's probably not, but it feels very anachronistic. Honestly, I would suggest like literally anything else. You would be better off reading My Hero Academia than reading this. And speaking of My Hero Academia, the next 3 items on my list are the first 3 volumes of My Hero Academia. I do like My Hero Academia as a sandbox to play in because I'm a fanfiction author. Do I like the canon? No, it's very bad. It's very, very bad. It has a lot of really fun setups and follows through on none of them. The writing is terrible. The writing is terrible. The art is honestly not that attractive. Their torsos are too long and their legs are too short. It's a whole thing. But like, it's a lot of fun ideas. It's a very nice sandbox to play in. That's about all I can say about it. Fun sandbox. Like, I have a lot to say about My Hero Academia in terms of like, I think it's really fun and I do care about it, but the writing is not good and the execution of the ideas is not good. And that means that I have a lot of thoughts about it. So in the future, you will probably see me do video essays about My Hero Academia. But for right now, I don't really want to get super into it. So just know that the next 3 items on this list are the first 3 volumes of the My Hero Academia manga. Specifically, I ordered them to 1-3 in terms of quality and increasing quality. So the third one is better than the first one, and the first one is better than the second one. That is my opinion. And I do not recommend My Hero Academia unless you are a creative type looking for a fun sandbox. I would actually recommend it to Harry Potter fans trying to distance themselves from J.K. Rowling, because vibes-wise, it's very similar. And also it's set at a school for people with powers. So I think if you're looking for something to replace Harry Potter, it could be useful there, but probably not for anything else. Next item on my list is Tough Night by William Shakespeare, which is my favorite Shakespeare play. It's got a set of twins, it's got cross-dressing, it's got a love triangle that might just be a square, and it ends with a wedding. It's funny, it's witty, and if you want to read Shakespeare, I suggest this one. It's super fun. It's so fun. All right. Next up, we have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This book feels like a dream or like a long dissociative episode. It's good, but not in a fun way. It's an experience, and I do think it's good to like read it once to sort of get the idea of it, to sort of understand the concept of The Handmaid's Tale, but it's not, not something I would necessarily recommend otherwise. All right, next we have a book I have already read once, which is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. It's a reread, but it's been at least 5 years since I last read it. And I liked it better this time because I think last time I was a little too young to really get it. It's very much a heavy sort of book that you really want to dig into. And like the themes are really strong. It's just a really good book with a lot to say. And I think especially in this political climate, it's maybe something you should check out. Next, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I feel like I'm missing half the jokes. Because, like, I know Pride and Prejudice is supposed to be a comedy. Like, it's supposed to be satire, poking fun at high society of the times. I know enough about it to know that that's what it's supposed to be. But I don't know enough about high society at that time to really get it. Like, I feel like I'm missing all the jokes. It's... which is kind of disappointing. I really want to get it. I really, really want to get it. But I don't. But the romance and the fluffiness to it does stand enough on its own that even if you don't get the jokes, it's still pretty good. That, at least in my opinion. All right, next we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I'm not usually a super huge romance person. Tooth-rotting fluff is not my favorite, but this is really good. It's very cliche. It's tooth-rottingly fluffy and sweet, but it's so, so charming. If you like romance, you can't really go wrong with Abby Jimenez. It's cute as all hell. Predictable, but cute as all hell. Another reread coming up next, we have Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. So after I finished Sunrise and the Reaping, I wanted to reread the original trilogy. The first Hunger Games book is not on this list because I do actually own it. I technically own the entire original trilogy, but they're at my grandma's house. So they're not physically at my location right now. I did read the first one while I was at my grandma's house. I reread that entire book in a single day. But otherwise, I ended up checking them out from the library. So I like Catching Fire pretty well. Katniss is still Katniss and is blind to her own emotions half the time. And that can be really frustrating, especially now that I'm older, because I recognize things that Katniss herself does not. And it can be very frustrating to watch her internal logic make no sense. Like, if you read this when you are Katniss's age, you're going to miss some of the themes, but you're going to find Katniss a more palatable narrator. That's my opinion on it. I do have to say, though, at one point I had to stop and text my parent because it had been so long since I read it the last time, and I did not remember Gale being that much of a dick. Like, he's a dick. He's an asshole. Like, I know he's a teenage boy, but there's being a teenage boy and then there's being like an idiotic possessive creep. Like, and he was definitely more of the latter. I did not remember him being so bad. Like, when I read it when I was a teenager, I thought he was fine. I thought the romance came out of nowhere. But that is more to do with the fact that I myself am at the very least demi-romantic, if not completely aromantic. And so I usually get blindsided by romance because, like, the line between romance and friendship is very blurry for me personally. So the romance did come out of nowhere. But yeah, reading it again, it's like, wow, Gale sucks. Sheesh. So yeah, if you're able to palate Katniss's narration, which I know some people aren't. My brother is not very good, doesn't really like it. But if you are able to palate Katniss's narration, definitely read Catching Fire. 100%. Next up, we have Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This book is just good, hands down. It's a little bit predictable, but, like, I've been told I predict things really fast. Like, I could guess the big twist faster than the octopus, who guesses it about halfway through the book. But one time when I was in high school, Choices, the visual novel host app by Pixelberry, there's a story on there called Perfect Match. And when I was in high school, I guessed the big twist in Perfect Match from the cover art. So maybe the fact that it's predictable to me should not be a factor. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because apparently when I was in high school and I predicted Perfect Match, my classmates had not picked up on it from the cover art. I was like, are you serious? Like, I thought it was so obvious from the cover art that, I'm not going to spoil it because maybe you don't. Maybe you want to read it. I do think it's pretty good. Yeah. Perfect Match, tangent aside, Remarkably Bright Creatures is super fun. The characters are likable. The setting is charming. There's enough intrigue to, like, keep you engaged. And I highly recommend it. At the time I made the list, there was a bit of a wait, so you might have to wait for it, but I don't know. So you'll have to see. All right, and then next we have The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Like, sometimes things get famous for a reason. I like The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I like Holmes and Watson. I like the hijinks that ensue in their cases. I like that all of the cases have resolutions and none of them are drawn out more than they need to be. I like that the focus is always the cases first and then Holmes and Watson second. Like, if you like mysteries, these are like the blueprint for a reason. Absolutely. Next, we have The Frozen River by Ariel Lachem. This is a really good book. It's a historical novel about a real midwife who actually lived in the late 1700s with a slightly fictionalized story. For example, there's a murder. It's really interesting. It's really well done. It's grounded and it's personal and it's real and you feel your emotions alongside Martha, and it's really very good. The resolution of the novel feels both earned and realistic. I highly recommend it. 100%. And then finally, the book at the very top of my rankings for 2025 is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. You might have guessed this was coming because I mentioned earlier that I'd read Sunrise on the Reaping. Good job. Genuinely the best book I read all of 2025. I cannot recommend it enough. If you're like my grandmother and cannot read sad books in the winter, wait until it's warm where you are and then read it. If you didn't like the original Hunger Games trilogy, read it anyway. Haymitch is a very different narrator from Katniss. Like, there are memes about it where it's like Haymitch info dumps everything. Katniss is like, wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? Like, that meme. You know the one I'm talking about. Any reason you can think of to not read it, forget it, because this is the best book I read all year. And on this list, you have to include multiple classic novels, my current hyperfixation, which is My Hero Academia, which is not very good, but I'm still obsessed with it. Like, it's the best book I can think of. It's like genuinely, I think, in my top 5 books of all time. It's just that good. Like, if you haven't read it, pick it up, start reading it. It's so worth it. It's so worth the time, the tears, the emotional toil. It's profound. It's really got a nice message. It's so good. Just read it. Read it. Please read it. If you read nothing else that I have mentioned from this list at all, read Sunrise on the Reaping. You don't need to read the other books in the series if you don't want to, but read this one. Absolutely read this one. All right. Thank you for listening all the way through my first video of this type. I'm recording this on voice memo. I'm going to sync it up with some video footage from The Sims, like I said, to sort of have something happening in the background. I would do art, but I currently don't have a working Apple Pencil, so I'm currently doing traditional art, and I don't have a camera for that. And I refuse to let you see my face, so no. So you get The Sims. Yay. Yeah, I really hope you liked the list. I have 2 more backlog lists, and then I have my March one, which still needs to be scripted. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you around. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.